Welcome to the Q&A, featuring the most basic voice every other no-voice YouTuber uses. Quite some time ago, in which talking about this is overdue, I asked you guys to send some questions my way. As we can see here, we got quite some people who wanted to know the inner processes of what goes into these compilation videos. Questions such as, how much effort and how long do these videos take to make? My plans after I finish the last scene. Why do I need a capture verification to use the text-to-speech? Anyhow, thanks to that absolutely mind-blowing ratio of interactions to questions, I will also be grabbing some questions from other videos that I've observed, including ones that I've answered before. So, without further ado, I will change the music and jump into these well thought out questions. Welcome to my humble abode, dear viewers. Enjoy some snacks while you're here. Now then, our first caller comes from Super Emi Samurai. Yes, what is your question?
Please use this question. What other games are you planning to make compilations of, besides Persona 5?
That's a good question. Well, for one thing, I must point out that I originally started making these compilations for my own personal fun, as well as an outlet to test out my editing abilities. As you saw from the intro to this video, I have improved since then. However, I had no plan for the compilations to become as big as they did. I was tired of not seeing compilations for Persona 5 on YouTube given its sudden growth in popularity, so I took it upon myself to make them. As for games after Persona 5, I haven't thought that far ahead. The channel isn't exactly themed around reaction compilations. Remember, I mentioned that I started them for fun. I may do it in the future after the release of the Royal, and for people who have played through the game by that point already. However, no promises. Hope this answers your question. Our next caller is by Constantwomanen.
Why are you in my feed? Seriously.
I don't run the algorithm on YouTube, Consta. If I was thrust into your feed, it was most likely because of A. I'm incredibly handsome and the algorithm thought you should know it. Or B. You've been watching Persona 5 reaction compilations and my community posts are showing up in your feed. After the raid on Area 51, hopefully some new alien technology will allow users to choose who they want in their feed. Alright, next caller.
I like your compilations. I'm curious though, when you finish every moment from Persona 5, what will you do next?
A similar question to the first, though the wording on this gives a bit more freedom to go in depth. Firstly, I wanted to keep certain future plans a surprise. However, in response to one comment, I explained to them what I planned to do once I'd reached the final scene in the game. Now I know that you guys have relentlessly been asking about if I was adding more people into the compilations. Short answer is no. Long answer is yes, but much later. To clarify, I will be adding the other people you want after I finish the final scene on my scheduled list. After that point, I will essentially redo the series, but in a volume 2 edition. So that being said, send me the people that you want to see. As for other things, I will be posting more music stuff to this channel. My musician life, thanks for bringing that up, is my actual career. In case you guys haven't seen me play trumpet, I will put a link in the description for a video of me performing. Another video will come soon with me playing piano. In short, expect more music stuff in the future. Alright, next caller. What a surprise. This call has 2 people on the line.
Are you going to do more compilations of the less bigger moments, or just keep doing the more serious parts of the story?
Will you do the Persona 5 miscellaneous? Like everyone's reaction to the final Big Bang Burger challenge?
I've gotten multiple requests for these kinds of scenes, such as the scenes like Yusuke's Passion of the Christ Confidant Link, or being in the sailboat with Yusuke. I can't respond to all of them individually, so I will address it here once and for all. This is the last time I will explain why confidant events or small side events aren't in the compilations. Firstly, you must understand that these side events are manually triggered, meaning people can choose whenever they want to do it. Because they have the freedom of choosing when to do each side event, it can appear in random parts in everyone's playthrough. For example, with the Big Bang challenges, one person could do it at the beginning of their playthrough, another in the middle, and another towards the end. Searching for each event in everyone's playthroughs would be impossible within such a time constraint. Also, not to sound so blunt, but I simply don't have the patience to skim through everyone's videos for that one small side event that could happen in any video. Hell, Carnage doesn't even give his episodes titles. With main story events, I can at least find them all in one spot. If one of you guys would like to search for them and make a video, be my guest. Let me know and I'll put it in the playlist. Alright, next caller.
Why no profile picture?
Alright, look. It's hard to find a profile picture for an unthemed account. Alright, I'm working on it.
I'm hoping to see the reactions on when Sajiro finds Futaba's calling card.
Since you guys request scenes frequently, I'll give you the pleasure of putting a preview of scenes to come. They will go across the screen now. Don't miss them cause I won't show them again.
Who's your favorite reactor?
As a man who just goes and scouts footage to use for the enjoyment of others, I do have my own opinions. Yes, I know. How unfortunate. My favorite reactor varies from video to video depending on how they react to scenes. However, in general my favorites would be Final Fantasy Peasant, Bittersweet Gamers, The Musical Gamer, and Murder Offbirds. In general their reactions feel the most authentic to me and they're always lively when they react to the scenes.
Cool videos, but why do you cut the reactions? It's not like they're that long.
In some cases maybe. However, most of the reaction-worthy scenes in the game are quite long, and when the reactor doesn't speak for over 15 seconds, I would want something to happen eventually and not just sit in silence. I cut the videos up to ensure that you're catching their reactions so I'm not just blindly putting the footage into the video. It seems that we have our final caller.
How long do the compilations take to make? Curious since the footage isn't all from YouTube. And who is your best girl?
First I'll say who my best girl was so I can leave the effort part for last. If you don't want to hear that opinion and turn on me, then skip to the timestamp on screen now. Okay, here we go. My personal best girl is Futaba. There's memes out there about weirdos liking Futaba because she's a computer nerd and gamer. However, I think she's best girl just because of who she is as a character. Watching her overcome difficulties was fun to watch and the way she acts is funny to watch. I know it sounds very cliche considering that's the summary of every confidant in the game. But something about Futaba struck me into liking her the most out of anyone in the game. I consider her to be more adorable than the other women in the game. However, there's interesting arguments about her I'd like to discuss. First is the argument that she's only 15 to 16 years old and that choosing to date her would be a strange choice. To counter that, let people play the game however they want to. That's like saying it's wrong to play Stardew Valley unless you only date people of the same gender as you. Second, Akira/Ren/Joker/MC is 16 to 17, so there's a 1-year difference between them, making this a baseless argument. Also, the same people think it's okay to date your teacher, which is even weirder since she's of age and you're the I could argue that the age of consent in Japan is 13, but I'm from the USA so I'm not even going to tread there. Another argument is the fact is that she is more of a sister figure. The player can think that and then I understand why they wouldn't want to romance her. Except for when people think it's like incest and she shouldn't even be a romance option in that case. Firstly, stop acting like she's your biological sister. Second, a lot of the storyline scenes between you and Futaba are very romantically charged, such as the beach and in the TV store, which anime viewers would call it a canon relationship based on that given it was to different characters. Alright. Rant and opinion over. Now I will talk about the effort it takes to make these compilations. Luckily, I recorded myself editing one, So I will speed up the footage, and when I have something to talk about I will slow it back down. Oh, and by the way, this is how much media, meaning images and audio, I imported to use for this video alone. Now, into the process. The video I'm editing is the one where Akechi is dragged into the palace. As you can see, I've already had the footage recorded from each channel, where I'm loading them in here. I placed a stopwatch to show the process time lapse. Now that the first scene is done, I repeat the cycle for everyone else. For Final Fantasy Peasant, I detach his audio from his video to align it with his face, because his audio is about 7 frames ahead. For Kronos' reaction, there is a long interlude in which he doesn't talk, as you can see from the audio waves. To get to his reaction, I cut out only the parts where he's being silent. The same applies to the other players. Now comes the time for me to make the intro and outro. I set the intro to a strict time of 10 seconds. The way I do the intro and outro is I take a clip of a non-facecam reactor and use about 10 seconds of their clip for the intro. Then for the outro I usually use the same person, but at a different point in their footage. Now I input the text labeling each reactor in the video. I've almost forgotten this step a few times, but I generally get it down. And here is the final product. As the stopwatch says, it took about 27.5 minutes. However, this scene was shorter, and I did this one straight through. Longer scenes can take a longer time to edit, up to a few hours. I also take breaks editing the longer ones, so that's why it can take a few days for them to come out. Thanks for joining me on this Q&A. If you have any more questions, put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. See you all later.